It's no secret that Islam loses as many converts as it gains. It's also no secret that 24% of people in America that are born into Islam no longer identify with the religion as an adult. I've watched a lot of people cycle to Islam over the last decade, and I feel like the Muslim community continuously refuses to acknowledge that their own community is what harms converts the most. There are so many people out there walking around with trauma they have from this religion and because of this religion. And today, we want to talk about it. Let's get into it.
Today, someone showed up in my Instagram feed that I haven't seen for a very, very long time. The account belongs to a convert that I knew of when I embraced Islam over a decade ago. I didn't know her personally, but I remember her family-style content. I was absolutely shocked to see that, like endless other converts, she removed her hijab. It also seems as though she is quietly reverting back to her pre-Muslim ways, posting Christmas decor in her stories. I don't want to name her and give her unwanted attention. When a convert who was once religious starts celebrating Christmas, I feel like it's like quenching a thirst, like someone who went without water for a long time, taking that first satisfying sip. Usually when someone posts themselves without hijab, I look for their last photo in hijab and then their first photo without it. When women remove the hijab, usually they make some sort of statement. Hers was cryptic, saying that she removed her hijab because she has a lot of trauma from the Muslim community, something that I have heard many times before. I am included in that trauma group. So if you're wondering how else the Muslim community traumatizes converts, allow me to give you some reasons. Before I get into the 3 ways, a reminder to subscribe if you're new here. This is my favorite topic and I want to share my updates with you. So subscribe now. Number 1, bad marriage prospects. Do you know how many nightmare marriage stories I have heard about from converts? I have heard it all at this point. And the worst part of these stories is that they never end. I have actually met converts who have not been through one bad marriage, but multiple. I feel like in so many cases, converts get whatever is left in the pile of marriage prospects, and they aren't good. I have some stories myself. I was always getting shitty marriage prospects thrown my way after my loss, and I denied every single one of them. Muslims will often try to push your boundaries when you say no to these bad prospects, telling you, oh, but they are memorizing Quran, and oh, but the brother does this and that, mashallah. Do you know what no means? It means no. Converts can be a hard sell to a lot of these born Muslim families, and to be honest, some of these concerns they have about converts aren't too far off. For example, many born Muslims do not want their kids marrying converts and fear that they will eventually leave the religion. Well, that's not some unfounded worry. I have seen this a lot. I am one of those people myself now. However, at the end of the day, if the convert in question does leave, is it really something to get mad about at this point? What if she converts and leaves and she's an amazing wife and mother? Well, according to Islam, this is enough to break up an entire family. If your spouse leaves Islam, you're supposed to divorce them, which is a whole other can of worms that children are involved because now the children will be traumatized from their mom and dad breaking up. When I say marriage prospects are traumatizing, I am talking about the entire experience from meeting someone to being rejected to making it to a nikah only to find out that your partner is a nightmare from the depths of hell. Being rejected is the worst, and it happens a lot. When it comes to marriage, Muslims are known to be racist towards Black people, and it's a big, well-known problem in the community. A lot of the time, converts are also told to marry other converts, as if we aren't good enough to marry born Muslims or have preferences. What was sent to me, though, were men that were older than my father, or men who were my age but wanted way younger women, and even men who were in jail for murder for the next 10 years, and men with an airplane of baggage that I was not really interested in. This happened to me over and over again for years until I finally said, fuck this, and I left. Also, don't forget, a lot of Muslim men out there need green cards, and they see converts as a perfect prime target for that. Born Muslims in the community will also suggest these people as well, which always rubbed me the wrong way because it goes to show they aren't looking out for my best interests. Let's also not forget that converts are often seen as bottom of the barrel, only good enough to be a second wife.
Right, but I do agree it is the sunnah, right? And like I'll reiterate, it's also sunnah to marry widows, single mothers, and not have us be that like, well, you're a single mother, so now are you okay with being a second wife? But why? Like, why can't I be the first wife? Why can't I be the only wife as a single mother?
This has happened to me as well, and so many other converts. When we have a hard time finding someone, we are asked how we feel about being a second wife, aka second best. This part of being a convert, looking for a spouse, is traumatizing because it erodes your sense of self-worth, something that a non-Muslim woman wouldn't have to deal with on this level. When you're rejected for what color your skin is, being a convert, aka having a past, having a child, which means you're not a virgin, not being from the same culture, and every other reason converts are rejected, you start to realize that Islamic marriage is very much transactional and very little about finding actual love. Number 2, bad marriages. We covered how getting bad marriage prospects over and over again can be traumatizing and destroy your self-worth in this religion. But what about the women who do make it to the finish line and find someone, do the whole nikah bit? Well, unfortunately, they have issues too.
I'm ready to talk about that with you guys now. So, this is not a drama story. Do not feel sorry for me. This is just what happened. Alhamdulillah. It was a long time ago now. I've been divorced. Okay, let's start there. I am divorced again.
Sometimes this causes a lot of women to lose their faith in Islam and even leave. A lot of these marriages are dead on arrival, but there is a sunk cost fallacy at play here. You converted to a new religion, changed your entire lifestyle, and dealt with all of the backlash from non-Muslim family and friends. If your marriage isn't good from the start, now you have to worry about family saying, "I told you so," and the whole stigma about Muslim men. Now, not all of them are awful. I do look at the whole Muslim marriage process as a lottery for women. Very few get lucky and get the husband that is good looking, kind, provides, has a nice family, etc. For so many other converts, their marriage will be a life of hell until they leave. Aisha Rosalie has been married and divorced twice now. First to her daughter's father, and second, a man that we never had the chance of meeting or seeing. Aisha's story from her second marriage and divorce is honestly just another run-of-the-mill convert marriage, but listen to what she has to say about what she went through.
I don't want to reveal the country that he's from because otherwise people are going to start like hating on cultures and things like that. So let's give his country a name. Let's say he's from country Bing Bong. He's from country Bing Bong. Okay. So I married a guy from country Bing Bong, and he was a very nice guy. He was a very nice guy, alhamdulillah. I really liked him. He was really sweet. He was really kind. Real nice guy. Really, really nice guy, alhamdulillah. People in country Bing Bong don't really like it when their sons marry people from not country. And I knew this when I married him. I knew that the family were not excited about the fact that he was going to get married to a white girl from a British revert. But the rejection that I faced from his family was at a level that was actually life-threatening. It was absolutely crazy. It was absolutely crazy. His family, they rejected me so harshly it wasn't because of my YouTube channel, it wasn't because of anything like that. The only information they knew was that I was a British revert. With that little piece of information that they had about me, they rejected me so badly that they completely point blank said, if you marry this girl, your entire family, we will all never speak to you ever again. You will lose everyone. And it went even further than that with some threats on life. Threats on life were involved. I saw the messages. He showed me the messages. The level of drama of this rejection was just, it was crazy. And when it first happened, I was really thinking, oh yeah, I can deal with this. We're not in the UK. It's fine. They don't need to know about this marriage. It's fine. We just won't tell them, blah, blah, blah. But as time went on, it just got worse.
Despite it being 2025 and having so many Muslims living in the West, there is this tribalistic, racist take on their children marrying outside of the culture. Look at this 2023 Pew Research report on how interracial marriage has increased. In short, from 1960 To 2015, the share of newly married couples who were interracial increased from 2.4 to 17%, roughly a sevenfold rise. We are now entering 2026, guys, so I am sure that percentage is even higher now. So if the number of interracial couples continues to rise in the last 6 decades, why are Muslims still denying their children the ability to marry who they want? When a person is denied the ability to marry who they want, who they love, this is the opposite of this one ummah that is preached to converts. It says to the person who's being rejected that they are a shame. It says that who they are, because of their skin color or culture, is a shame, not someone worth loving. When Muslims do this, they are showing converts that an entire group of people is inferior to them. Denying someone because they are a convert from another background is basically another way to reinforce internalized racism within the community. Muslims will often brag about Hajj and how people from all over the world will dress the same and come together and are all equal before Allah. But what the hell good is that if you're just looking the same but not changing your views? What good is it if Muhammad from Somalia is going around the Kaaba making tawaf next to Sister Kelsey, a convert, but would never ever let his son marry someone like her? Number 3, abuse from other converts. You would think that after all the horrors that converts experience from born Muslims, that converts would form an alliance and revolt against this bad treatment. But no. A lot of the time, they become just like the judgmental born Muslims I just told you guys about. I have a name for these converts and I call them the zombie converts. You know how it works in zombie movies where someone gets bit by a zombie and then they become a zombie themselves? Yeah, that's kind of what happens with converts too, except they can become a normal person again by becoming burnt out by Islam over time or leaving it altogether. A lot of converts online and in real life become the haram police to the extent that they become unbearable to be friends with or be around. If you're a convert, you know what I'm talking about. The zombie convert will hop on social media and make all kinds of reminder posts telling everyone else that what they're doing is right and the rest of the world is doing it wrong. They will even take it upon themselves to comment on your posts or personally DM you and criticize what you're doing as a Muslim, but try to dress up their words nicely with Islamic sources and say, they are just reminding you because Allah commands us to remind one another of what we are doing wrong. These converts become emotionally abusive because they take it upon themselves to become self-appointed moral police, criticizing other converts' way of practice, shaming their clothing, questioning their sincerity, and accusing them of bid'ah or kufr, aka innovating the religion or not believing in Islam anymore. And the usual defense to this as the bullied convert is that Islam wasn't revealed overnight, so therefore a convert cannot be perfect overnight. But this doesn't matter to the enforcers of the true Islam. Despite them only becoming Muslim within the last few years, they have positioned themselves as a better believer, and you are less than. Unless, of course, you're Andrew Tate. Then the bros give you unlimited time to become a quote-unquote good Muslim. Converts are also enabled to become abusers because Islam gives them the perfect guidelines to be an abuser. Converts are empowered by Islam saying things like, your hijab is wrong, you must obey your husband, you need a wali, aka male guardian, you're not knowledgeable enough, or you follow the wrong madhab. During my last few Ramadans, I barely fasted because not eating made things worse for the depression I was suffering from. To avoid judgment from other converts in the wider community, I barely spent time with anyone. I was once told by another convert that I have to fast, even if I have debilitating depression. That was another nail in the coffin for me as well. The lack of concern for the mental health during Ramadan. My coffin for Islam probably looked like a pincushion. There were so many nails in it until I finally hammered in the last one. The healing process. If you're traumatized from any of these, what I would suggest is jump off of this crazy train. First, do not join another religion immediately after leaving one. I truly mean this. I look at the process of losing one's religion very similarly as I view grief. It's a loss, a massive one, and the healing process should not be taken lightly at all. After Ramadan in 2023, I left Islam for good. And have I looked into other religions and spirituality? Yes, I have off and on. But to be honest, I'm happy where I am with no religion. Also, if I am being really honest, from what I have been seeing online and experiencing these days, like how AP was treated for seeing another woman, people in other religions are just as if, not more toxic than the Muslim community.
The one issue is this, that I had a changing life situation, as said, which involved separation from my wife. That is not something that is that happened out of nowhere. It's not something that happened out of the blue. It is something that already started a long time ago, when I was an atheist, when I was at the peak of it. And it was primarily caused by me, by the other person involved, by issues in our lives. Okay. I did things as an atheist that might not have that are not good, that I should be judged for. We lived a life as atheists that were probably not good, that we should probably be judged for. But we did conclude at the end to come together, initiated mostly by me, that we should go separate ways, and that we should do this while looking out for each other, respecting each other, loving each other, helping each other out, and so on. In fact, I initiated this by saying, we should do this, we should separate, but I will do my best because I care so much about you, the mother of my children, and about our kids, that I want to the best of my ability, take care of everybody. And this was the conclusion. This was literally the conclusion. On day one of us talking about this, the conclusion was, okay, let's do this. Let's do it. It's not ideal. It's not good. It's not fantastic. In fact, since it happened and since we initiated this, I have been hurting brutally. And I hurt right now as I speak about it. David probably doesn't know what that is because he's a psychopath. But it's pretty painful. It is not pleasant at all. It's not something that I do or that anybody does because we love to do it. It's something that is a necessity, that I agreed as a necessity, and that my wife also agreed as a necessity. If anybody wants to know further about why we consider it a necessity, I'm going to tell you, it's not anybody's business. That's it. It is not anybody's business. It shouldn't be anybody's business. Unfortunately, over time, some things were kind of handled irresponsibly, both by her and also by me. For example, she said she shared our status and said, please do not ask me, he left me, things like that. These were things that were said, in my opinion, irresponsibly, and I told her that as well, because that's not really what happened. We had a very well agreed upon process that we started. It wasn't one person leaving the other or anything like that. That led to people like Sam Shamoon coming in and making the situation significantly worse than it ever was, and turning it into a giant conspiracy theory.
So, in general, religion just puts the worst taste in my mouth imaginable. Imagine being a grown adult and you and your wife came to a mutual agreement to separate, and the entire internet makes up lies that you cheated on her. I also do not like the legalism and the harsh judgment from this side of the internet either. AP is an adult with his own autonomy, and he's allowed to make decisions for his life. Didn't Jesus say, "He who is without sin cast the first stone"? Where is the kindness from Christians towards one of their own? I don't see it at all. I really do not see myself joining another religion and subjecting myself to the same nonsense all over again. Plus, I just can't commit to believing something is true. There's too many questions religion can't answer, and when they try to answer certain questions, the answers just don't sit right or appeal to me. Second, I know this sounds redundant, but therapy truly is a lifesaver. If you don't have insurance or you don't have the best insurance, in the USA, there's community mental health and private practice therapists. At a private practice, a lot of the time they offer something called a sliding scale for their rates, What this means is, let's say they charge $100 per session. If you don't have $100 to spend per session, maybe they would offer you a rate of $60 to $80 then. Ideally, I feel like if someone is going to get therapy, they should commit to it for at least 6 months, a year preferably. It takes time to develop a therapeutic relationship with your therapist and connect with them. They often give you a free first 15-minute call, and if you find it isn't quite working, you can change therapists. Trauma is not a quick fix, and PTSD lasts a lifetime, so it's good to have tools from therapy to cope with these things. Third, find a new community for yourself, not just meeting ex-Muslims online. I understand that all of us want to belong somewhere, and when you leave the Muslim community, maybe you'll want to insert yourself into the ex-Muslim community. There's no doubt that some great friendships are possible from these spaces, but a concern I always have is the fact that so many of these people are just as traumatized, if not more traumatized than you are. Also, there's a very real possibility that you will attract more negativity in online ex-Muslim circles from trolls and straight up stalkers. Another reality is that it's the same conversations over and over again about why people left, why Islam is this or that. Your identity becomes shaped by this, and you never really grow as a person. When you leave Islam, it's important to have that separation between your ex-Muslim identity and who you are outside of all of that. Yes, I do have ex-Muslim friends, but they are not the only friends I have. Doing YouTube isn't the only thing happening in my life. I am actually super busy these days between being a wife, mother, and just the daily grind of life that I don't really have that much time to think about Islam. Honestly, the only time I am thinking about Islam is when I'm doing YouTube. Outside of this identity, I am someone who loves to read psychological thrillers, cook, bake, watch Netflix, etc. Also, if you talk to my husband, he will also tell you that I love taking naps. In conclusion, people who come into Islam often enter with trauma and leave with even more. However, people like my husband and I aren't the first to enter and exit Islam, and we will never be the last. We are just here to provide resources and be examples of how life can go on without Muhammad and his caravan full of baggage that Allah gave him for 23 years. If you're looking for a sign to leave Islam, consider this video that sign. Don't gaslight yourself. Your experiences matter, your pain is real, and yes, it is absolutely worth leaving over. So choose yourself first and be kind to yourself. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe if you're new here. If you want to do even more to help this husband and wife duo, join us on Patreon. This is Mrs. Friendly Ex-Muslim signing out.